Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today I'm gonna be doing a different type of what if. So as you all know, Squid Game Season 2 released yesterday, and when Squid Game Season 1 came out, I made a video on what if Squid Game was in Cobra Kai, and I figured it would be fun to make a follow-up to that video. I figured it would be fun to combine those two series into a single what if. So spoilers for Squid Game Season 2, you have been warned. So with that out of the way, let us begin. What if Miguel and Robbie were in Squid Game during the events of Cobra Kai Season 6? If you haven't seen the previous part, I would recommend you go watch it before continuing this one. So there was a line in Squid Game Season 1 by one of the VIPs stating that the Korean Squid Games are the best, so there are probably more games around the world. So in this version of events, we're gonna have Squid Game in the US, and to keep things simple, we're gonna have the Korean Squid Games in the US. So in this timeline, it would be 1 year after Johnny's death. Miguel would have continued training at Miyagi-Do, but eventually he would decide to quit. Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do would continue to have a rivalry. Robbie and Sam would still be in Miyagi-Do, and Miyagi-Do would win the 2019 All Valley tournament. Eventually, Robbie and Sam would break up, and he would move back in with Shannon. Those events would carry on. Robbie and Shannon would be struggling financially, and Robbie would want to get more money to help his mom. So one of the Squid Game recruiters would go find Robbie, and he would offer him $100 if he could beat him in a game of duckchi. So Robbie would play, and he would be slapped a couple times, but eventually he would get the money, and the recruiter would tell Robbie that he could win a lot more money by playing simple games. So Robbie would be interested, so Robbie would join the Squid Game. Meanwhile, Miguel would want to get into Stanford, but he wouldn't know how to pay his tuition, and the same recruiter would go to Miguel and offer him the same deal. So Miguel would still play duckchi, and he would also be slapped a couple times, but he would also get the money. Miguel would be interested in playing more games, so he would also join the Squid Game. So later on, they would be recruited and taken to an unknown facility, and they would wake up and see more players. Robbie and Miguel would be surprised to see each other, and even though Miguel and Robbie trained at Miyagi-Do together for a short while, Miguel and Robbie still wouldn't be friends, but they wouldn't be enemies either, and they would somewhat get along. This is when Miguel would notice another player, and he would realize that it was Tori. Tori would be surprised to see Miguel and Robbie. Robbie and Tori would still see each other as enemies. Tori would explain that her mom had just died, and that she was here to get money to help her and her brother. This is when the guards would explain the rules, and they would be playing red light, green light. The game would begin. Robbie, Miguel, and Tori would all go their separate way, and most of the players would try to run across. But as soon as they called red light, the players that were still moving would be shot. Robbie, Miguel, and Tori would be frozen in fear. This is when Robbie would snap out of it, and he would continue advancing. Miguel would see Tori, and he would want to help her get across. The game would continue, and Robbie, Miguel, and Tori would win red light, green light, and they would all be shocked. The guards would explain that they could end the games if the majority wanted to, but Robbie would be mad that they were killing innocent people, so he would want to confront a guard, but the guard would point a gun at Robbie, so Robbie would back down. The players would vote on whether or not they wanted to continue the games. Miguel and Robbie would vote to end the games, but Tori would choose to keep playing. And much like in Season 2, the majority would choose to keep the games going, so no one would go home. Miguel would realize that they needed to work together to make it out alive, so Miguel would get Robbie, so Miguel and Robbie would team up, and they would want to get Tori, but Tori wouldn't want anything to do with them, and the next game would begin. The players would have to choose teams of 5. Robbie and Miguel would be on the same team, but Tori would be on a different team. The 6-legged race would begin. Another player would do duckchi, Tori would do flying stone on her team, and the race would carry on. Robbie would do gunji, and at first, Robbie would have a hard time, but he would remember the balance and the concentration that he learned at Miyagi-Do, and he would eventually get it. Another player would do spinning top, and Miguel would do jiggy, so Robbie and Miguel's team would make it, along with Tori's. Another vote would happen, but still the majority of players would vote to keep the games going. The next day, the next game would begin, and they would play mingle. Robbie and Miguel would always stick together, and during the first round, they would find a group of 10, then a group of 4, and on the third round, they would want to find a third person. So Miguel would see Tori, and he would want to drag Tori with them. So Miguel, Robbie, and Tori would be together on the third round. Next, they would have to find another group of 3, because they would need 6 players, and on the final round, Tori would go off on her own, and Tori would find another person, and Robbie and Miguel would always be together, so they would all make it past the third game. Another vote would happen. Miguel and Robbie would still choose to end the games, but Tori would still choose to keep them going, and later on that night, a fight would break out. Miguel, Robbie, and Tori would fight the other players. Tori would use offense, while Robbie used defense, and Miguel would use a combination of offense and defense. The fight would continue, but eventually Miguel would be stabbed with a fork, and he would fall on the ground. And that is where I'm going to end part 2. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Squid Game was in Cobra Kai Season 6? Let me know in the comments below. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.